Hi, this is Tommy Watt here for T2T Boxing. I'm joined this morning by Tony Del Vecchio, head boxing coach over at Bondi Boxing Club, MTK Australia. How you doing, mate?
Not bad, Matt. How are you?
Very well, thanks, mate. Very well. Strange old times. It's first time I've ever interviewed you, not face to face. So
I know, true that.
And you're in a warmer climate than I am.
It is, mate. I'm up here at Townsville, as you know, and the weather is absolutely brilliant. I think it's going to be about 27 today. It's been great. So yeah, just ready to get on with it.
Yeah, and one of the few places in the world where you can have a fight with a crowd.
Yeah, apparently so. This is, I think, it's the second biggest crowd in the world this year. I think I'm not comparing numbers, but Fury and Deontay Wilder was the last one with the crowd, and now this one at about 16,000 here at Country Bank Stadium, I think it's called, where the Cowboys play. And so yeah, it'd be good. Be very good.
Yeah, and I almost got so used to watching fights without crowds. It's going to be a bit strange having one with the crowd now.
That is true. That is true. Yeah.
But you're obviously up there because you're training Lynn ahead of her professional debut, Lynn Sandstrom, who's up against Jessica CASHMAN. So we'll start with that because I think you were keen to come on and talk a bit about that. There's been a fair bit flying by on social media back and forth. And I know, look, Lynn's, both fighters have come under a bit of scrutiny. I think the promoters have come under some pressure, but then there's also been support from the other side who are saying, look, let's give these girls a platform and an opportunity. It's their debut, so there's nothing to really go on here.
Look, I mean, yeah, you're right, Tommy. You're right, and I think what the people need to know is just a couple of things where. Look, I don't do much social media. Actually, the person in question does a lot of my social media, as does my son. I don't do much with it. I'll post every now and then, so it doesn't really bother me. It's not my generation. I don't really care about it, to be honest. But look, you know what? It is a thing. This age, and I think all credit to her for not biting back with some of the stuff that's been said on social media. I don't really want to focus on the negatives, but there was a couple of things there that were said, which kind of like, well, hang on, that's not right. And if it's not right, that needs to be corrected. One, a couple of things is, at the end of the day, I do know the promoter really well, and as do others, boxing trainers and coaches and slash managers, which is I do both, as you know. And the thing is, the opportunity that arose for Lynn, it's plain and simply, they wanted a woman boxer. They approached her. Simple as that. Simple as that. They knew she was making her debut. They knew she was very raw. They knew that, and a lot of people are saying, oh, amateur stars. Well, we can't control the narrative. We can't control the media. If someone wants to say to boxing amateur stars going at it, it's going to sell some tickets. Well, that's their issue, not ours.
A promoter promoting a fight is not unusual. I think,
exactly.
It's their job.
Talk it up.
I think no matter what fight they have, they're not going to come out and say, average fight here, no one worry about it. It's their job to try and make a big thing and sell it. So, but then I guess there's been the other side is there has been support, I guess, from the boxing community. I think there's a few people around that making their debuts and around that sort of level that would have loved this opportunity. And I think maybe some of that's just people thinking, I wish I had that chance, but no one's going to turn it down, are they?
No. Of course not. You know what? At the end of the day, it had been offered other people too. I probably said, "Oh, geez, I wish we were on that too," because there has been no shows. And I know all these boxers. Look, I mean, I've got a pretty big stable, as you know, and 3 or 4 of them, or two or three or whatever, still signed by MTK Global, and they can't get the stuff. I mean, I'm looking at Matteo Tapia. We may be out end of October, very early November in Dubai. Now that's going to be a logistical nightmare. So we're going through that at the moment. If that happens, then it's something that it's going to. Is it the same thing? I mean, look, we were given an opportunity, and we said, look, happy to do it. And the reason why, as I said, it wasn't for me to say I want to get on this card. They called her. Who's looking after you? Obviously, they knew it was me. Afterwards, we spoke. I said the only thing I want to do is make sure that it's a reasonable match. Now, both the girls have the same amount of amateur fights, and there's a difference in age. I don't know much about the other girl. What I do know is that we have trained extremely hard to do exactly what it is we want to do. Now we're going to throw the cards on the table and see how they play.
Yeah.
You can't judge that. There's another one people saying Viviana Ruiz. Mate, Viviana Ruiz is a gunfighter. We know she's one of the best 51s in the country. Who do you see at 51? Taylor Robertson, Viviana Ruiz, and then it pretty much there's a huge gap after those two. And I look why they didn't choose that fight. I don't know. I really don't know, and it's not for me to say. But and there's I did get a phone call from Najmi in Wollongong, who's
Yeah.
Viviana's coach, and then a subsequent call after that with Ben, I think who's obviously her partner, but also looks after her coaching
Yes. Yeah.
career as well. And we said, yeah, look, we'd love to fight, but in all honesty, I said we're not ready. I mean, Viviana's like she's had a lot of
Yeah. I mean, when you
experience.
talk about amateur stars, she fits that
Yeah,
bill
oh, man,
certainly, and she's
I
someone who's
mean,
been there and done that.
represented the Australia and the Worlds and Com Games, I think. I think that's what she's done. And look, and that's pretty good. And you know, almost made the Olympic squad, I think, or she's trial.
Yeah, very close
So
to,
you know,
yeah.
very close to. So she's got a excuse. And I said to the boys, I said, look, why don't we let them both have 3 or 4 fights each? I know it's tough, but let's see what we can do. 3 or 4 or 5 fights each, and then maybe we can fight for an Aussie title if no one else is in the mix, or if they are in the mix. But in that sense, too, Lynn makes 48 kilos extremely easy. That's where we want to campaign.
Yeah.
So you know, it just for a boxing coach / manager of a career right now, Viviana Ruiz right now doesn't make sense because it would be, you know, it'd be a hard hill to climb for Lynn in about 5 or 6 more fights. Who knows?
Yeah.
But right now, as I said, that's just respect to the girl, disrespect to Viviana and other girls at that level. Lynn's just not there yet. We haven't had the pleasure of fighting so many amateur fights after fight because she's not an Australian citizen. So the most she could do is do the New South Wales. But
Yeah, so I wanted to ask about
that.
that because I know you guys travelled a lot to get fights for Lynn, and now she's been over to Sweden to fight, and then travelling all over the place. And so that's because she isn't Australian, is it that she couldn't get as much amateur fights here?
I guess just to get the better level of competition without jumping the line again at the time, Viviana Ruiz or Taylor Robertson, because it just wouldn't have made sense. You know, we don't want to break someone's confidence, and it's like there's a huge gap there. But the gap, you know, it could be getting very, very small now. We're diminishing the gap somewhat. But we decided to go to Sweden where she could fight for her nationals, which she did. She silvered twice, which is pretty good. And we went to the Golden Girls, which is the biggest competition outside, for girls only, outside of the world titles. She's gone and camped in the Philippines twice, had the living leather smacked out of her there, which is great. That's how we've been able to guess up our levels without being in competition. But mind you, you go to the Philippines and spar there. I don't want to rip you to pieces. And you're paying them to do it. It's freaking crazy. And then she also went and camped over in the States where she met up with Kylie Former.
Yep.
And spent a bit of time there with her, and you know, have since reciprocated and had her down in Sydney before we had to all get on a last ditch effort plane to come up here and beat the closure.
And then yeah, you mentioned Kylie there, so that's a good little good way to segue into the next one. So she's obviously fighting against Shannon. That's the one that's come up very sort of out of nowhere in the last couple of weeks.
Do you know what though? Do you know what? I'll tell you a little bit of history on that, because when we got her to come down and help us spar with Lynn, because we thought, well, look, you're here. We got her to come down to Sydney, had some sparring, and look, I've known her for a while, Kylie, and Lynn has obviously met her, stayed with her over there, and so they got a bit of a friendship as well. So she goes, man, I'm happy to come down. She wasn't doing anything, but she'd had that, I guess, measured amount of fitness because she'd been training. I wouldn't say she was training for a fight, but I know Kylie. She's a marathon runner when she was younger, and she's always fit. She got a set of lungs on her. Honestly, she is fit, and so she came down and did spar with Lynn. And I thought, while you're here, I gave her some other girls to spar. We had Chloe Gretsch there, and who else? Let's cover the girls that came to the gym to spar, and she was pushing out 10 rounds like it was no one's business. I'm like, how good's this? And we heard about the closure. We got wind of it through the promoter, who got a bit more of a heads up from the government, obviously spending this amount of money up here, and said, look, guys, borders are going to close as of midnight on a certain day. And I said, oh, God. So we sat down, we made a decision. I sat down with the wife at the gym and said, guys, look, what's going to happen, and I need your help. And so the gym's been running like clockwork, and so that's all been good. So a shout out to all the guys in the gym. They know who they are, and appreciate it all. What you're doing for us there, and my son running the counter and being the new COVID marshal. Yeah, that's crazy. But it's just we got the call and said, like, we got to go. So everybody helped us make the decision quite easy. We all packed up on a plane and flew up here, and then we continued sparring. We continued training there on the Gold Coast in Brisbane, where we were staying. And then Kylie rings me up and says, "Coach, guess what? We've got a fight." I said, "Oh, when?" I said, "Shannon Taylor. Sorry, Shannon O'Connell." And I'm like, "Excuse me, when did this happen?" Because I knew it was going on.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do it at the Fortitude Valley Gym in front of a corporate fight night. And I thought, no, yeah, okay, it needs a bit more than that. And then out of nowhere, I think there was a slot that came up in a time when you could only be 2 Queenslanders because the borders are closed. So you couldn't in effect call a Viviana in or anybody else that was looking
I know Ebony Bridges fancies a crack at the winner of that.
Your PIC, your partner in crime, Ebony Bridges. I know she couldn't get up either. But see, the thing is because the borders were closed, not for want of different opponents. Do you know what I mean? And I think well, actually there was talk of Ebony Bridges and Shannon.
I think there was. I think my understanding is it was maybe too short time to get ready for a fight like that.
I think it was short for everybody to get ready, and because they were pushing. Well, they were pushing yesterday. I think the time was yesterday, and it just got blown out by an extra couple of days. And I think the promoter saw it as a good fight to put on for the card.
And it's a good fight for the future as well. If Ebony fights the winner of that, it's a big fight.
And that's exactly where it is, and it's like I said, look, Kylie has a team around her, and as I said to Kylie, I said, "Look, Kylie, I'm here. You've been training with me for 3 weeks. We got we're going to be here for like 4 weeks, mate. How's your fitness?" She goes, "Mate, I've been running a marathon. I mean, I run, an hour or 2 hours a night, not a problem. Who wants to do that? I don't know. That's just crazy, but hey, whatever." You're me.
That's why I'm doing this.
Thank you. There's a measured amount of fitness there. So we said, well, let's go. So we started training differently. We started sparring differently. We got girls up here to help us out sparring as well. Shout out to Chris Cardman there at Platinum Boxing. Rob Murdoch's trainer with Georgia, and obviously Lynn was still doing runs, and just other people helping us out. So mate, we had a really good camp, and it was rushed. Although she's taken, like we'll say, the fight would be 3.5 weeks notice, I think it was, when it was announced. But we'd done about, say, 2.5 before that. So, it's an 8-rounder. It is for the Aussie title. I said it's an opportunity, so let's do it. Just on that, just about to talk about the support that both the girls have got too. Like Lynn's support it's eclipsed anything we could have expected. The amount of people all over the world, saying go for it, making a pro debut. It's awesome, and how's the fight going to go? Look, we're here for the win, obviously. We're going to do the best we possibly can, and we're going to go out and try to shake as much as we can for the level that's at. That's that one. With Kylie, the support for Kylie, the minute the fight was announced, holy cow. Like, I mean, if you didn't know about her then, you're going to now. Because
it's huge opportunity.
It's huge opportunity, and it is for an Aussie title, and it's at the current climate. In the current climate, you go back and look at Eddie Hearn's last 3 late girl fights.
Oh yeah,
Celia Brock.
I was watching Katie Taylor this morning.
Exactly. And Katie this morning, it's just McCaskill and Brockhouse the week before, Harper before that, mate.
Harper
honestly,
Jones, we've had some absolute battles. Women's boxing is peak at the moment. Absolute peak.
Harper Jones, I think, could have got that one, just Kylie. But hey, I mean, sorry, Jonas could have got that one.
Yeah, I think so. I think so too. But I think women's boxing at the moment is flying, and I think it's just really, really exciting. To see the support these guys are getting, and I think
the amount of people that are getting behind ladies boxing in general, even the ones getting behind someone that is like Lynn, for instance, is making a pro debut. Not many people know what she's like as a boxer. Hopefully she showcases herself really well. It can turn people's opinion of her, whatever. But the amount of negative press compared to positive for her is, we're not going to be bothered.
Yeah.
It's like 3 people in a crowd. I wouldn't say 3. I don't even know who the people are, to be honest. Right? I haven't researched it or checked it out because I really don't care. But for instance, for these girls, if there was a room of 1,000, there'd be like 5 or 6 people saying no. The rest are saying yes, and that is the best way I can explain it. So there is support because women's boxing is here to stay. And it's, hey, look, you know what? I heard it this morning on the commentating with Katie Taylor. We're not calling it women's boxing. We're just calling it boxing.
Yeah,
fair play.
Definitely. And then you got, like Shannon O'Connell's been around. She was around. She was around when there was no support for women's boxing. You had the likes of her and Louisa Horton come through. Whereas you've got this new generation who are coming through, where there's that platform of sort of respect is already there.
Yeah.
They don't have to. So people like Shannon O'Connell and Louisa Horton have kind of
Oh man,
raised the
Shannon
game in
O'Connell's
Australia.
yeah. Shannon O'Connell, I think, is number 5 in the world with the WBA. I think, I'm pretty sure. That's no joke, you know. And she's I know that title. I think either bantam or super bantam, either one is vacant, and the girl's screaming for it. I can't remember what her name is. Marianne, I think, something or other. She's screaming for it, and she actually moved from Miami to Oklahoma before COVID, or just in the middle of COVID now, just before they closed Miami down tight. Because there's word now, you know, if these guys can put themselves in a position to be able to get over the States and fight on one of those cards, hey, it's been done. Look at the Maloney brothers. It can be done.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
so opportunities,
Great
man.
work by the
You know,
Maloney brothers.
and Shannon's in the mix already. If Kylie was to win this one, when Kylie wins this one, you know, that propels her, I guess, in the rankings as well. And having an Aussie title, maybe a regional, cements her in the rankings. And she's already got an opportunity. She's got visas and everything, like Louise Horton, because they're stablemates almost. She's got visa to go back to the States.
Yeah.
So she's already. So, you know, there's a lot of things at stake here. So people don't realize what happens in the background, why fights get put on and why they should be put on. So it's been really good. So it's been great support for Lynn, great support for Kylie when it was announced. The girls have been sparring each other, like trying to rip each other's heads off, which is perfect.
Yeah.
And culminates all to something really serious on, you know, August 26th, which is next Wednesday at the arena.
Long.
And yeah, not long at all. So made it. And look, and what about the rest of the card? It's put together.
Well, yeah, that's. I was
quite
just.
nicely.
Before I let you go, did want to talk to you about the rest of the card. So, you obviously trained Matteo Tapia, who's Tim's main sparring partner since they were kids. So outside of Team Tszyu, you've probably seen Tim do more rounds than anyone else, I'd say. So what do you think? Do you think it's too early for Tim? Do you think it's the right time? How do you feel?
I tell you, it's one of those things where, you know, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't sort of situation. Unfortunately, fortunately or unfortunately for Tim, his surname is Tszyu, and that can open a lot of doors, which is fortunate. It can also create a whole heap of expectations, which if his name wasn't Tszyu, he wouldn't have them put on him. He'd be like, okay, this guy's just taking a crack and having a fight with Jeff Horn because in position to do so. Good on him. Let's see how he goes. Now that it's Tim Tszyu, son of Costa Tszyu, he's now, oh wow, can he do what his dad did? Well, let's leave that out of it, right? Because he's his own kid, and I can tell you, he kind of likes to make it out his own way as well, right? He knows who his father is, but also he knows who he is. But in saying that, styles make fights. I've seen Tim always be on the front foot and quite dominating and quite quite surgical with the way he does things that way, because that right hand, I can tell you, it finds a way in. Right?
Yeah.
Timing is impeccable, accuracy is impeccable, and speed. But then Jeff Horn's a strong man. He's strong. I was watching him yesterday in the open sparring there, the immediate workout. Tim looks almost on weight. Jeff Horn looks like he's double the size.
Yeah, he's always looked huge though, hasn't he?
I know what I mean.
It's always shocked me when he makes weight, because
exactly.
Yeah.
So, you know, in that sense, it's just like, if Tim gets embroiled in a brawl, may go Jeff Horn's way. Look, probably because it's just the fact of the experience of being in those types of fights, and that's stylistically his type of fight. He likes to get in the mix, right? If Tim can get him to stay at bay and start using his jabs and crosses at length and the longer shots, I think he could have a shot. I mean, he's got a great right hand on him. So it's a really strong right hand. You know, Tim's only been off his feet once with a flash knockdown against Wade Ryan, whereas Jeff Horn's been off his feet a couple of times, albeit against.
I mean, it's fair to say Jeff's been into wars.
That's right.
Over the last few years.
But still, you know, Chin's been tested. So let's say at the end of the day, like, you know, let's just say if he was to land one of his right hands, which I know the shot intimately, as you say, I've seen it many times. It can do some damage. Then there's also, you know, as a cut guy, I would say there's the factor of cuts. There's low percentage on Tim, but a high percentage on Jeff. That's an issue. And Tim being as surgical as he is, what happens there? So there's so many different, I guess, anomalies to say. But I would say, for me, I think Tim too young, too hungry, too sharp.
Yeah, and I
And
think timing wise for the fans, it couldn't probably come at a better time because you
no,
wouldn't have got this fight a
great.
year ago from Jeff's side. In a
No,
year's two's time, Tim's side probably wouldn't want to do it. So,
no.
yeah, I think we're
Yeah,
really lucky that
April
they have
was meant
actually
to
met.
happen in April. Yeah, it was meant to happen in April, and COVID hit, and so fair play to both of them. Congratulations to them both for sticking and
Yeah,
both teams
no,
for sticking to the plan, and both the promoters. You got DNL and Maddie there with No Limits Boxing. They both stuck to
yeah,
it and
and it's good to
on
see these
the
promoters
full
working
weight behind it.
together as well.
Oh
Yeah,
man,
I
look,
think that's what we need.
this is it's another stadium show in the middle of COVID. How good's that? But mate, look,
Yeah,
it's like I said, we were asked to come up here. She was asked, I agreed, and so we put it together. As in Lynn Sandstrom, we've got another fight there with Kylie, who's on the main event card, so that's on the pay per view. So from a 4-rounder now, I'm looking after 12 or something rounds, and just a bit of something off. I guess another segue. How good is the camaraderie between clubs up here at the moment has been really, really good because
yeah, it's been
you've
great
got
to see.
look, the guys have been helping us up out here, the likes of Fortitude Boxing, Platinum Boxing, what's his name there, Frankie there at Eastside Boxing, AJ DiCarlo, all the guys have been absolutely brilliant up here for us, and it's been really good.
Yeah, it's a really
And
nice
yeah,
gym down at Eastside, actually, isn't it?
it really is, and the boys have helped us out a lot, and with a whole heap of sparring partners with both the girls, and been up there looking and watching Joel Cavalieri. Jimmy, he's got a good fight coming up.
There is a lot of good fights, and there's actually one
That's a good one.
more. There's one more on this card that you kind of know, I guess, intimately. In Adam Copland, who's fighting
Yeah,
with Hardman. So
yeah,
you obviously train Mateo coming up
yep,
against Copland.
yep.
It was a good fight. Copland's a very very skilled fighter.
Very.
Hardman comes to fight, so that is
Yeah,
going to
it's hard, but
be.
look. Now it's actually Copland. I tell you what, it's happened. It was going to be those two, but it's changed. It's Copland, Camilleri, Hardman, Jamie Weech.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, I keep getting that.
No,
Keep getting
but
that
no, two
mistake.
fights with two fights I'd love to speak about simply because they're just names that have been thrown at us in the past. But
Yeah,
with Mateo, we watched. There wasn't much to watch, but what I did see of Adam Copeland was there was a couple of fights he had
that's right.
before that. But when I watched it, I thought, yeah, okay. And everybody's ringing me saying, mate, are you sure?
Yeah, I think
But in
I would
the
have said
end,
it to you at the
you
time.
did, and I said, mate, why am I second guessing myself here? I said, I know what I want. And anyway, in the end, straight up, we took the fight 4-week notice. Now, I'll tell you a little bit of a story. I called Mateo on New Year's Eve. I knew he was going to watch the fireworks at North Narrabeen, where he's from, some lake. I don't know. It's like Campbelltown by the sea, whatever it is. But
The lagoon.
the lagoon. So we went to the lagoon. He's looking at watching some fireworks. And I called him up and I said, hey, bud, you're fighting February 8th. The silence was deafening. And then all it was, for fuck's sake, excuse the French.
Better put that beer down then.
And then, no, that's exactly what he did. He put his 6-pack down and walked home. So we trained for 4 weeks and we got ready. So, and you saw the fight. Now, nothing against Copeland, good kid, good fight, all that sort of stuff, but just wasn't ready for Mateo. Mateo's power
Yeah,
and speed and everything was just too much. But we were not really super fit, and you could tell in rounds 5 and 6. I said, mate, go for a run, get
yeah,
your legs back. And at 7 and 8, he's destroyed him and had him on the ground as well. So you can
yeah.
see,
So
we definitely had.
So with Joel then, you think Joel's obviously much more experienced
Much.
than Adam. So I mean, fair play to Adam for taking that fight on the back of the Mateo fight.
Oh, mate.
It's
Yeah. Look. Look. You saw Camry against Tim Tszyu. Let's look at that fight and people say, "Oh man, Tim Tszyu took him apart." Yeah, he did. But I know it that he had some issues coming in with just some cramping and that sort of stuff. Didn't judge his water and all that sort of stuff. But he's not making excuses. Joel won't make excuses. I looked at him the other day, and this is a 72, not 69. But the guy's walking around a 72.
a big
He
difference.
looks really, really good. And he's jumping around. He's working up here with well, you'll see in obviously in the telecast. He's working with Frankie and Dundee, Kim, and all that sorts of guys. So he's got a good team around him. And the boys have got him ready, and he looks good. He's taken, like I said, he took a short notice, but again, Joel's like the rest of them. He's always out there fit and ready to go. Jamie Weech and Hardman. Oh,
Yes, yeah, that was So that was when I because I think I commentated on Jamie's last fight with Hogan, and
yeah,
he wanted that fight so
he
much,
came to
and
fight.
he came in such good shape.
He
He
did.
made it difficult all night long. it was the ideal kind of prep for Hogan
Well,
against Munguia, but and
I tell you
Hardman
what, mate.
similar style.
Yeah,
It's gonna that
look,
could
Hardman
steal
for
the
me,
show that night.
they could. Hardman for me, like, when the first time I saw him, well, briefly saw him, was on that Copeland Mateo card with the at the Hordern with
That's right. Yeah.
was it Hopewadi Gallen. I remember I didn't see much because he was up against Baylor Petty, came out 2 steps, bang, hits Baylor Petty almost outside the ring. That's
That was
crazy,
it.
right?
Yeah.
That was almost done. That's what I've seen. So I see, okay. I've been reading, is it another MMA guy that's got a reasonable sort of hands that's just throwing them from all over the place? No, it's a bit more than that, I think, now, because he's out there training with the boys at Nitro, which is, Blair. Blair's a good coach. He gets his guys working really well. We've got Jamie Weech, though. I'll have a little bit more, not information, but obviously TJ Doheny, as we all know, former IBF champion of the world, is over in Perth. That's where he lives, and he trains sometimes at the same gym as. He's got his own little home gym, but he goes out there with Lacey's. Yeah, he goes out at Lacey's sometimes and just has a couple, got some sparring done with Jackson John England and that for his last one. So he knows the world boys pretty well. Dara Foley, being from Perth before he came to Sydney, he knows Jamie Weech pretty well. Nice. They rate Jamie. He says he's tied little boy. Now, if he can, you've got a sneaky 100, stick it on Jamie Weech. That'd be my advice. Just because the boy can box, and like you said, he came to fight.
And he's very strong and very, very fit. He doesn't stop.
Very fit.
From the first to the last minute, he'll be there.
Yeah, and that's so basically that fight's going to be a good fight. I can see, it's the support bout. Well, I wouldn't say support bout. There's only one bout, and that's the Jeff Horn Tim Tszyu fight. That's a major consequence. But the rest of the fights are, I think.
Yeah, I think they've done a good job. Yeah, really good job.
They've done a great job. I can tell you, guys, when we were on the way up here at the airport, we saw 3 or 4 different fighters thinking, okay, the Sydney boys are going, we're all going to get up there, we're going to spend 4 weeks and, have a bit of a camp about it. 3 didn't make the airplane, mate.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, this card has changed more often than you could keep an eye on. It's just every time I look at it, it's different.
And it was nothing because no one's sick or anything. It was just that they came through the Queensland Premier's alleged hotspots. Penrith and Campbelltown and what else, Marylands and stuff like that. So, we couldn't, Kai McKenzie couldn't get up here. And
that is a shame.
Exactly. I would have loved Nort Beauchamp to be out here to fight with all that. With who was he? Nort had Liam Wilson. Now, there's a good kid. There's a great kid. Liam Wilson.
Yeah. Well, he's fighting Jackson Woods now, isn't he?
Yeah, this could be a good fight. Jackson Wood doesn't muck around either. He's a good kid. Let's just see how it goes. But Liam Wilson, who's on the charge, he's a kid. He's a young kid. He's 21, 22, whatever he is. I think he's one of Australia's biggest, along with the likes of Mateo and the other kids coming through. Wax is looking pretty healthy.
Yeah. So that left hook kind of put him on the map, didn't it, last year? Oh man,
Jesus, he's got a great big left hook. But for all that's happened and for all that's gone around as far as COVID is concerned, I think fair play and hats off to both the promoters because they are, they're putting it on the line and this is a result. So I think we're going to have a very good card come next Wednesday. I think the prelims are, they're just good. I guess just wet the whistle, so to speak, and then bang straight into the main event. Starts with Joel, then Kylie and so on and so forth after that, with Liam and all that sort of stuff. So and Isaac and you got a great card. So can't wait, excited. As far as all the rest of the negativity is like, well, we'll just grin and bear it. There's nothing we can do about it. But the amount of positivity that's coming out for personally from my fighters has been amazing. And we just want to say thanks to everybody, like yourself and everybody, just to get out there and say, guys, it's 2 girls having a fight. Let's let it ride,
Yeah, absolutely.
Whatever happens. It is what it is. It was ordained to be now. COVID will not last forever. Okay. And boxing will survive. That's right. Yeah, fingers crossed, I guess. But boxing will survive. And, we'll get back at it. The whole world is where we are right now.
Yeah, so I think probably a lot of the world's probably behind where we're at right now in Australia. I think we're in a privileged position.
Boxing, like even with MTK, we've got the shows over there. As you know, it started up in the north of England there, and it's going really well. But again, it's no crowds. There are no crowds. There are no crowds in the States. There are no crowds in England. There are no crowds in Europe. The only one that's got a crowd now is this one, which is about 16,000 people. Now, this is you can't fail because the card is reasonable, more than reasonable, and it's 28 degrees.
I was going to say it looks very nice. It looks very nice over there. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, thanks a lot for your time there. It is really exciting, like you say. It's available on Main Event. It just got announced that it's available on KO. So if you don't have,
how good is that? That's
Foxtel,
right. Yeah.
Finally, Aussie fans that don't have Foxtel can get pay-per-views without finding a dodgy streak. Exactly. So it's a huge game changer.
Much genius, simply because look at it this way: Victoria, all pubs are closed. Now, if you don't have Fox, not everybody has Fox. If you don't have Fox, you can't go and watch this fight. Now you can live stream it for a couple of bucks. How good's that?
Hopefully, it should open up revenue streams as well for future fights.
I hope so.
Fingers crossed. And I know it's available on ESPN as well, as it's going out in the States on ESPN Plus. So
it is
huge exposure for these boys as well, which is great news.
Sky, just to let Sky have also bought it in England as well, just so you know. So it's been bought in the 3 major continents, mate. Yeah, so it's out there, and it's just we are starving for content, as you could well imagine.
That is it.
So this is what this is. Yeah.
All right, excellent. Well, I've taken up half an hour of your time there, Tony. So I'll let you go off and have your swim. And
thanks, mate.
We'll catch up maybe when you're back in Sydney after the fights, and we'll have a bit of a breakdown.
Mate, thank you so much. To set a couple of things straight, but more importantly, just to say, look, we appreciate the support that we're getting from home, abroad, because obviously, Lynn not being an Australian national, and just the boxing community in general has been amazing, absolutely amazing. And hopefully, like I said, each and every one of those fighters on that card is going to give their all, because they're chomping at the bit. And the reward, I guess, the people getting rewarded the most from that will be the fans. All of us that'll be sitting back and watching. So, mate, thank you so much. Enjoy your Sunday, and I'll have a beer on you.
All right. Cheers, Tony.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Cheers, bye.
Bye.